Some meditation, some inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. As always, we ask ourselves that question. What is it that you want? What are the things that you want to do? What are the things that you want to achieve? As we set our timer for 60 minutes, we recognize that you are important, that the things that you're going through are important. Asking the questions that other people won't ask, getting to the place inside where other people won't go. And so, what is it that's important to you? What is it that, if you could do one thing every day, what would that be? What if we could get you into that place where you are focusing, where you're connecting with yourself on that level, where you're asking yourself this question every day? Is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And so, when we look at things, when we get down with the challenges that we're facing off against, they're very interesting how they work. And a lot of people would say, well, it's easy for you to do. And of course, it's easy for the person to do who's on top of it daily. It's easy for the person who's disciplined to stay positive. It's easy for the person who's willing to get down with their own challenges and to sit down with themselves. But it's not easy for you to start. It's not easy for you to get into it. It's not easy for you to face off against it. It's not easy for you to get your mentality into that type of place. And that's what it's about. It's about asking yourself those types of questions. Am I focused? Am I getting down with my challenges? Am I getting to the place where I'm becoming a tool in the universe? Is the universe having the ability to do so? Am I able to use the tools that I have? And what are the tools that you have? What are the abilities that you have? What are the questions that you ask yourself every day? And so each day we're going to have to face off against those kinds of things. Each day the energy inside is going to matter. Each day the amount of energy that you have, what you spend your energy on, what things you do on a daily basis are going to matter to you. And so if they matter to you, then you matter. Then if you matter, what is matter? What is it that makes you you? And so as we start to break those kind of things down, we start to get to that place where we ask ourselves the question, what is important to you? And I'd love for you guys to leave comments in there on what is important to you, what truly is important inside. If everything else was shut off, what would it be that makes you you? What would it be that brings you to a place where you have a mentality that gives you an ability to live your life? And a lot of us are going to have a lot of different stories. A lot of us are going to have a lot of different challenges. And each of us that are having challenges are going to be looking and searching inside for the mentality. And what is that mentality, and how do you build it? How do you put yourself in a place where you start your energy in motion, as Robert Kiyosaki says, or you give yourself the ability to have a positive mentality, have a positive ability? Are you putting yourself in a place where what you're putting in your system is helping you? What is it that you're reading on a daily? What are you listening to on a daily? What challenges actually drive you? What are you asking yourself on a daily basis? If I can do this thing, what is that thing? And so a lot of us see people that have achieved that. They see those people that are getting there, that are doing that for themselves. And it has nothing to do with somebody else. This has to do with you and you. And so a lot of people aren't willing to get to that depth for themselves. They're not willing to face off against the challenges. They're not willing to ask themselves these types of questions. And what are they? What kind of questions do we get down to? What would make you qualified to be you? What gifts do you have? A lot of us say, oh, I'm searching for my gifts. I'm searching for my ability. I'm searching for my mentality. And so what is that mentality? What is that place? How do you start to get there? And so that's where focus starts to come in handy. That's where the ability to sit down with yourself and to truly start to grind and to truly start to put that in front of yourself, putting that mentality in place, putting that ability in place, recognizing that you are a blessing, that the gifts that you have, the focus that you have, the process that you have that is actually you is a purpose, that you actually have a purpose on the face of the planet. And so as we give ourselves that kind of a place, we have to give ourselves also the permission to focus to that level, the permission to be where we are, to face off against these kinds of challenges so that we can overcome our own challenges, which are in our mind, our own place inside of our process. And so this is called having an able mentality. It's called getting down with what you have. It's getting down with, your ability to be yourself and to face off against the things inside of you, to face off against the mentality from within, to read the energy of the universe working through you and with you. And how do you start to do that? How do you start to sit down? How do you start to study? Are you reading? Are you putting yourself in a place where your mentality is starting to come to an ability that's coming from within? Are you giving yourself the time to be in that place? Are you giving yourself at least 10% of your day to sit down and master yourself, to sit down and grind with you, to sit down and start to, give yourself a purpose on your day? A lot of us say, I don't know how, and then they get time for themselves and they're doing other things. They're playing video games. They're listening to things that aren't bringing them in a positive direction. They're putting things in their way in which aren't meant for them. They're meant for other people, other places. When you look inside of yourself, that's where you truly live. You wake up daily on your own. You wake up daily being you. You face off against things that only you can. Have you given yourself the time to slow down and sit down with yourself and say, hey, let's do this. Let's get this going. Let's get on this page. Let's get on this chapter with ourselves. A lot of us are going to face off against that kind of mentality. Those people that are succeeding have taken the time to sit down with themselves, to elevate themselves to a place of time and organization, to elevate themselves to a place where what they're doing is becoming a reflection, where what they're doing is becoming a mentality. And so when you see those people succeeding, don't be surprised in the results. Look inside of yourself to start asking yourself that type of question. Look inside of yourself to start to recognize that kind of mentality, to recognize that kind of ability. To truly focus to that level is a gift. It's an ability inside of yourself that you were born with. You have a right to be there with you. You have an ability to be there inside of yourself. But it's up to you to learn how to. It's up to you to sit down with yourself. It's up to you to start to challenge what other people would not challenge, which is yourself. To start to get to that mentality where you start to believe in yourself. You stop comparing yourself to other people. Your journey starts to have your path. Your journey starts to have your purpose. Your journey starts to have your mentality, which only you can have. And so a lot of times we are put in that place with those kind of tests to see if we can turn them positive. If we could start to use this universe in that way. If we could start to put things down in front of ourselves so we can see it. So we can achieve it, so we can become it, so that we can work on the outside so that the inside becomes a place of study. And a lot of times that's where the failure starts. It starts with you not allowing yourself to turn everything into success. Every challenge that you face off against, everything that you go through. And it is in your mentality that it starts. It's within your ability to put it down on paper or on a computer. Just write it down. Write it down in such a way that you manifest it. That when you start to see it, you can overcome your challenges. Look not at how bad the challenges are. Look at how you can overcome them, how your mentality can achieve a light from within. It can radiate your being outwards. It can radiate your ability outwards. It's from within your mentality that you start to become able. It's within your mentality that you no longer are disabled. It's interesting how people call it a disability. They call it an ability not to. So let's call it what it is. An ability to overcome challenges, an ability to use what you have, an ability to see that it doesn't matter what somebody else has. It matters what you got and what you do with what you got. What can we do to start to get that kind of foundation? How can we get to that place inside? How can we start to overcome those kinds of challenges? That's a very good question each of us should ask ourselves. What journey are you on? What path are you on? Does your purpose have a place daily? Does it have a place weekly? Do you see your journey? Do you see your path? How did you start your journey? Where did you start your journey? When did you start your journey? These are all questions that people ask themselves instead of say it's me. Say it's you. You're on your journey. I am on my journey. I am on my path. I am on my purpose. Declare it. Manifest it. Put it in a place where you start to have a foundation where you are focused. Now what? And it ain't somebody else that can do that for you. It's got to be inside of you. It's got to be inside of your mentality. You got to be so focused that no matter the challenges, you can overcome them. No matter the things that are happening against you, you can become positive. You can choose positivity. You can choose to start to put yourself as a light in the universe. You can start creating a manifestation from within your mind, even before the stuff comes to you. And so where do you start to get there? When do people start searching you out? When do they start to call you a focus? When do they start to call you a reflection of focus as motivation? And that's a question we got to ask ourselves every day. Is what I'm waking up motivating me? Is what I'm waking up giving me the ability to focus? Is it giving me the ability to be myself? Is it giving me the ability to face off against my challenges? And that's a question that we got to ask ourselves each individually. How do you start to see you are a blessing in the universe? When other people start to see it, when other people start to recognize it, they will come to you. It's up for you to be honest with yourself. It's up for you to start to grind on your journey. It's up for you to start to recognize that your path is worth it. To wake up every day and realize your breath has a place. To wake up every day and to recognize that you can achieve your dreams. A lot of people try to stop us. They try to hold us back from ourselves. They try to hold us back from our own mentalities. They try to hold us back from our own ability. And it's up to you to focus past those kinds of challenges. It's up to you to have that kind of ability to say, hey, I am an able body. I have able abilities. What I do have and what I don't have, it ain't your problem. It's what's going on inside of me. It's my ability to overcome my challenges. It's my ability to overcome my things that other people would call a disability. You call it whatever you want. I call it an ability to overcome challenge. I call it an ability to see the positivity in each situation, in each level of focus, in each levels of mentality. And inside of that place, that's where you live. Your classroom, your being, your ability is up to you to ask yourself those types of questions. It's up to you to sit down and to dominate your walk. It's up to you to dominate your life. It's up to you to dominate the energy inside of yourself, to get to the place where you truly start to grind with you. You truly start to get down with yourself. You truly start to overcome your challenges. And I want you to ask yourself that question. How many years have I been on the face of the planet? How long have I been focusing? Have I given myself time to sit down and to focus on myself, on my ability? Have I given myself the place to be me? And so a lot of us ask this question, and when it comes back to us, and we can't answer it with a yes, and we can't answer it with an ability to say, I can, and I am focused, then you lose the ability for your mentality to achieve a place of liberation. However, when you do sit down with yourself, when you truly do sit down with your mentality, when you do sit down with your abilities, when you sit down with your level of focus, that's when you start to answer the question back as, yes, I can. And you have to believe that you can be you, that you can go through your challenges, that they do have a purpose, that they do have a place, that your journey was worth it, that it is worth it, that you are worth waking up every day. When you become your best friend, when you no longer need other people to do that for you, when you find it inside of yourself, when you uplift other people from you being you, when you recognize that you are absolutely a blessing in this universe, the universe has the ability to use the blessings that you have inside. And that is up to you to find for yourself. Nobody's going to do that for you. So ask yourself these types of questions. Ask yourself, is this place that I'm inside with the mentality of ability to be me? And a lot of times, it's in that dark place that you start to find that. It's when every person has left you. It's when everything is not working in your favor. It's when everything is working against you that you start to recognize that you have a gift. You have a purpose. You have a path in this universe. It's when your butt is getting kicked and you are getting back up. It is when you're putting yourself in that kind of a place that you start to recognize this universe can utilize your gifts. It's not when you have a lot. It's when you have little to how you remember it when you have a lot. It's when you have little that you remember it when the universe is working with you. It's when you have little that you recognize the blessing that you are. You are absolutely a blessing in this universe. And it's up to you to declare it for yourself. It's up for you to sit down with yourself. It's up for you to write stuff down, to read positivity, to put your universe in a positive place. Because it's your choice to see what's positive and negative. It's your choice to see how to turn it positive. It's your choice to overcome your own challenges. Nobody else will do that for you. They might join you for your journey. They might join you for your path. But they cannot live your life. They cannot live your breath. They cannot live your being. It's up for you to start to see that. It's up for you to start to become that. And that, my friends, is a blessing. And so how do you start to put positivity in front of yourself? You got to shut off the things that aren't meant for you. If it has to deal with something that's not you, you got to recognize it. You got to stop trying to become things that you're not. You have to start becoming you. You got to start getting down with yourself. You got to get down with your level of mentality. You got to get down with your level of ability. You got to see you. And how can you see you unless you study you? How can you see your abilities unless you sit down with you? Unless you start to ask yourself the questions nobody else would. Unless you start to recognize that you absolutely have things that you can overcome. You have challenges that are going to ask you the question. And I want you to ask yourself this question. If I spoke my mind, if I spoke my being, if I wrote stuff down, if I truly was who I am inside, if I truly faced off against the challenges that I'm going to face off against, and I allowed other people to do that themselves, would this not be that world you would want to live in? And if you answer that question as yes, I would, then let's start grinding on that level. Connect with this network: motivation, meditation, inspiration, focus, knowledge, and discipline. Let's get there together. Let's get to that place where we're understanding the energy, where we're reading the energy, where we're becoming the energy, where the manifestation comes from within, where the manifestation becomes a reflection, where it becomes a blessing, where you see your blessings, where you see your ability, where you see your purpose. Each day, you're going to wake up. Each day, you have an ability to turn it positive. Each day, you have an ability to wake up and to say, this is going to be a positive day. I don't know what challenges are going to come up against me, and I am going to turn it positive. I am going to become known as a focus, as a motivation in this universe, in the universe of which I live, in the place in which I live, in the challenges in which I live, in the ability to get there for yourself, in the ability to get there with yourself. That it doesn't require somebody else for me to be positive. It doesn't require somebody else for me to get to that place where I utilize it, where I become that kind of light in the universe. And we have a choice to manifest it. We have a choice to become it. We have a choice to face off against it. We have a choice to see the positive and to see the negatives, and to see the positives and the negatives working in our favor. And they're going to come to test you. They're going to come to ask you. The universe is not just going to give you positivity all the time. It's going to see if you can turn it positive. It's going to see if you can take things that would be for you and against you and make them for you. It's going to see if your universe has what it takes. It's going to see if you have a mentality to go to that point. It's going to see if you have an ability to get down with yourself to that place. And every single day, you're going to be asking yourself this question. How? How am I going to turn it positive unless you write stuff down? How are you going to turn it positive unless you listen to positivity? How are you going to turn it positive unless you choose to see the positive in the angles and you allow the things that are not meant for you to move out of the way? That's how, from within, is going to come from a place of manifestation. It's going to come from an ability to be you. It's going to come from an ability to have your mentality, to have your able ability. Your challenges have come so that you can overcome your challenges. They've come so that you can get through your challenges. They've come so you can learn the lessons from the challenges. And each individual's challenges is a blessing. Each individual's path is a blessing. Each individual's purpose is a blessing. Now, what do I mean by writing stuff down? A lot of people mean, you're going to put down the positive? Okay, I could do that. No, you're going to put down the negative? That's not so easy. Okay, I mean you write down everything. I mean, I woke up and today was a hard day. Okay, today was a hard day. Let me go ahead and see how to turn that positive. Okay, today didn't work out the way I expected. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I could change that day. Let's go ahead and see how tomorrow is going to turn out. Okay, today I wasn't myself. Okay, let's go ahead and see how tomorrow we could become ourselves. How tonight we can become ourselves. How we can get through those kind of challenges. How we can see the things that are messed up and the things that are not. And start to turn them positive. And to truly start to work on ourselves. That's what I mean by writing stuff down. And so write down everything on your mind. Write down everything that you go through. Write down every challenge that you face off against. Write down everything that you want to achieve, every dream that you want, everything that has happened, positive and negative forces in the universe, and see how to turn them positive. See how to put them in a place where you start to overcome them. See how you start to recognize that you can achieve your dreams. How you can get to that place where your energy starts to flow, where your being starts to become a light source in the universe, where it's other people. And as you focus to that place, other people will start to say that. They will start to look at you as a place of focus. They will look at you as a person in your positions, in your days, in your months, and in your life. And so how do we start to, uplift other people to that point where they're focused? You can listen to positivity. You can turn YouTube on. You can listen to stuff like this video on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. You can hear what I'm saying. Listen to those people who are focused to the point where they don't let the things affect them that are going on around them. That are what's going on inside is you versus you. You versus your own challenges. You versus the being that you are. You versus the journey that you're on. You versus the path that you're on. And start to focus in on you. Start to limit the expansion of things that are not you. Do very few things and do them very well. You are only one being in this universe. Recognize that you can do things, but you have to be down with yourself. You have to be down with your ability to be you. You have to start to see your challenges as a blessing. You have to start to see your ability to see what you can do on a daily. And so just wake up, simply wake up and say to yourself, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And start eliminating those things that are not bringing you in that direction, that are not bringing you into a place where you're focused. What is it that you're focused on? Are you listening? Are you reading things that are bringing you in that way? Are you putting them into a place where you give yourself that kind of permission? And it's inside of that place that we stop ourselves, and that's where we have to allow ourselves to continue. We have to learn to focus beyond. We have to learn to get to the place where the foundation becomes focus, where the foundation becomes simplicity, where you are simply you, nothing more, nothing less. You are you. You don't have to change you from being yourself. You don't have to change you from the being that you are inside. You have to speak your mind and let those people that aren't meant for you move out of the way on their own. And with that kind of mentality, we start to create a foundation where honesty is the most difficult trait, is to be self-honesty. You could be honest to every other person on the face of the planet, but you got to be honest to yourself. You got to be down with your own challenges. You got to be down with your own ability. And don't ignore you. Don't ignore you facing off against you. Don't ignore your ability to see your blessing. Don't ignore your ability to be who you are inside. And so, if you are in that place where you are trying to become uplifted, this message is for you. It's to tell you that when you become honest with yourself, and it's not to be selfish to be honest with oneself. It's actually very unselfish to be honest with oneself, because all you have is you. You have been on your journey. The people who join you on your path, they're going to see you. They're going to see you for you. They're going to eventually they're going to see you overcome your challenges. And that is where we start to become a beautiful world. When we start to face off against that kind of stuff, we start to face off against what other people have called the ability for us to be slaves. You are in charge of your freedom. You are in charge of your mentality. You are in charge of your self-honesty. And so create a foundation where it allows you that, where it gives you the ability to face off against it, where if you are at a position, it's because you are there for yourself, you are there for your ability. When you join a team, you are still a single unit, even when you're playing on a team. And that's why they see the importance in each individual, because each individual is as important as the team. You are a blessing in this universe. It's about time you start to see it. It's about time you start to become it. And so, where is focus set into place there is when you start becoming that inside of you. It's when other people are at home sleeping and you're still speaking. It's when other people are getting off and you are still continuing for hours later. It's when you put in the hours, when you put in the time. Only you know that. Only you know that you can achieve that. Only you know that you could go through that. And so that is why the foundation is focused, because the things that aren't meant for you will move out of the way when you give them permission to, when you give them the place to, when you give them the ability to. When you are focused to that point where it doesn't matter what's going on the outside, where why you're waking up is because of positivity coming in your universe. Why you're going to sleep is because you're positive within yourself. When you give yourself that place where it's you versus you, you will start to see the blessings come in, because the universe will start pulling from the tools that you have. It'll start pulling from the place that you have. It'll start pulling from the challenges that you have. It'll start pulling from the mentality that you have. And it's going to come from that place when you're that focused that those things that are not meant for you will move out of the way on their own. But you have to give yourself that kind of permission. You have to give yourself that kind of place. You have to give yourself that kind of mentality. When others might say it's not possible, and you know it's possible, you focus to that point where it becomes possible. That is what it's about. This universe's ability for us to overcome our challenges. It's an ability for us to get down with the things that nobody else would do. When you survive that thing that nobody else could, when you focus to that level where nobody else would, when you get to that place where you're willing to go inside of yourself, you're willing to manifest this universe inside of you. You're willing to sit down with the student inside of you. You're willing to get down with the challenges that only you can face off against. When you are willing to speak to yourself and others about a mentality that uplifts other people, when they start to see that level of mentality, they're not surprised in the results. They're not surprised in the ability. They're not surprised in the challenges that they're going to face off against, the things that they're going to go through. And you are going to go through your own challenges. So get within yourself. Get to that place where your breath starts to become a connection, where you start to simply be you. You start to simply get down with the challenges that you're going to face off against. Get down with the person that you are inside. Get down with being honest with yourself to face off against you. The emotions that you're going to face off against, the fears that you're going to face off against when you get inside of yourself. And the challenges being turned positive is your journey. It is your right. It is your path. It is your purpose to get through those kinds of challenges. The Most High God created us with challenges so that we could overcome our challenges when we're willing to get down with our challenges. We're willing to get down with our ability. We're willing to be who we are inside. And so focus to that place. Focus to that ability. Recognize that you have it. You can become it. You are a blessing in this universe, and you have had a path, you have had a journey. Ask yourself, how many years have I had the ability to focus? How many years have I had the ability to sit down with myself? How long have I sat in this place? And when you feel like you're stuck, recognize that it is positivity testing you. Positively, this universe is putting you in a place that you can overcome your challenges, that you have what it takes to have a mentality that you are you. And so, where do we go from there? When do we start to break down the energies inside of ourselves? When we start to have an able mentality, when we start to recognize that we can extract this kind of lesson inside of ourselves, that we can become that kind of a student, that we can have this kind of place where we are a purpose, that we are a path, that we are a journey, that we can get to that place where the simplicity of our breath, the simplicity of our tools, the simplicity of our blessings come from within ourselves. That is what it means to free yourself. That is what it means to overcome your challenges, to allow yourself to work through them, to allow yourself to face off against them, to allow yourself to overcome your challenges. And that is where going inwards has a purpose. It has a place inside of you to sit in the space by yourself, to sit in a space where you are willing to overcome those energies that might have tried to stop you, might have tried to hold you back, might have tried to stop you from being yourself, might have stopped you from being honest with yourself. It's inside of that place where the foundation of focus has an ability for you to become the student of your life. Start to become that student of your life. Start to become that student of your mentality. Start to become that student of your ability. Recognize you do have an able mentality. You do have an ability to overcome things. And even with challenges, they're there for you to overcome. They're there for you to work through. They're there for you to see your blessings. And they might be in your ability to stand your ground. They might be in your thought process. They might be in your heart. They might be in your ability to voice yourself. They might be in the ability for your depth perception to work. And that is where we start to get into the classroom of ourselves and face off against those types of things. It is with that kind of mentality that we overcome our challenges. It's with that kind of mentality that we overcome our fears. It's within that mentality that we overcome our emotions. It's within that mentality that we sit centered inside of the classroom, extracting the knowledge from the stories inside. And when we are centering in our center breath, we're sitting inside of ourselves at that level of understanding, the light starts to open up to you. It starts to ask you the question, can you read this book? Can you read the book of you? Can you read the energy of you? Can you read the chapters of you? Can you read the purpose of you? And that is in that place you start to learn about the knowledge from within yourself. You start to learn about the elevation within oneself, within the purpose within oneself, within the challenges. And when we start to accept all of the things that we have ever been through, we start to free ourselves to that level. We start to free ourselves to be ourselves. We start to free ourselves to answer those types of questions. We start to free ourselves to be honest with ourselves. We're going to face off against things. We're going to face off against challenges. We're going to face off against things that other people might not even think are possible. And when you do that for yourself, you'll be surprised inside of yourself. You'll be surprised inside of your ability. You will start to see your mentality become clear. You will start to see your understanding become clear. You will start to see your path, your purpose, your journey become clear. And it's from within that place where freedom lays. It's from within that light that people call you an inner light. It's from within that purpose that people start to see your purpose. It's within that place that we start to give ourselves that kind of permission. It's within that place that we start to give ourselves that place to start to recognize that we have lived on the face of the planet. How long? How long have you lived on the face of the planet? How long have you had the ability to have knowledge? It is waiting inside of yourself for you to extract. It is waiting for you to have the mentality, get down with the simplicity of your breath, to become that which you are inside, to become that which is already there. A lot of people teach that we must change. I do not want anyone to change. I want everybody to get down with themselves, to become honest inside of themselves, so that the people that are meant for them will come in their direction, so that you can be a gift in this universe, so that you could be a path in this universe, so that you could be a purpose in this universe. And it is against the grain in which I teach there. It is with the universe that I teach there. It is with the universe that I teach that ability for you to be yourself does not change you. It is to become positive and allow the positive things in your future to come your way. It's allow the positivity to come in your direction. It's allow the path to be there. It's allow your purpose to have its place, to have its journey, to have its understanding. When we understand that we are each a wonderful journey, we are a beautiful path, we are a beautiful purpose, we start to get that kind of connection with our knowledge. We start to become that best friend inside of ourselves. We start to see that the people that come in our way are there to uplift us. When we only allow those people that are bringing us positivity, we allow those people that are not meant for us to move out of their way. They might be husbands, they might be wives that are not bringing you in a positive direction. It's up for you to allow them